Hey, welcome back to my channel. I was out at Lowe's today and I found out that they were selling this Delta 36725 T2 for a heck of a deal. I already have one of these saws that's put together. We've been using it for 2 years. And I never did an unboxing video or a setup video on it. But now's my chance. I got this on sale, so we can go through the whole build of this unit from start to finish, and hopefully that'll help you build yours. One thing I do want to mention about this particular saw, this T2 version of the Delta saw, it has a known motor failure issue. The issue kind of stems from a few parts inside the standard version that go bad, and namely that's the start capacitor, the run capacitor, the brake pad, I think it is, that goes on the fan shield, and then there's a switch as well that can go bad. There is a kit from Frank Heisler, and he's in the group on Facebook. There's a whole group dedicated to this 36725 T2 on Facebook. It's a great group. They'll answer all your questions when it comes to using this saw, setting the saw up, getting the most out of this saw. But you can find Frank there. I'll put a link to his upgrade kit in the description below. But join the group, because there's a lot of valuable information in there, and there's a ton of users. A ton of people have this saw, and if you're watching this video, it sounds like you do too now, so congratulations. So let's go ahead and get this thing built. I'm just going to open it up, and I'll start by pulling all the parts out so I have them laid in front of me. Okay, so we're putting this thing together. The first step is you want to assemble the base, and to assemble the base, we're just going to slide this side of the base into this side of the base, and then secure it with this carriage bolt. This is an M8 70 millimeter carriage bolt. It comes in your pack. It also comes with a lock nut or a lock washer and a lock nut on it, or with it. Don't confuse that with the two carriage bolts that come in a separate bag that also have lock nuts on them. These don't. You'll notice they don't have a lock washer with them, so that's how you know that it's not this part. So we're just going to make sure you come up through the bottom of your stand. You want this rounded top of the carriage bolt on the bottom, so it doesn't drag against the floor. Okay, so once we've got the base put together here with this single carriage bolt, we're going to slide the bottom into the top of the table saw frame, or the table saw main component here, and we're just going to lift it up and slide this sucker in. This wheel, you want this to be on the side with your tilt adjustment. Okay, so here we have our blade height. Over here we have our blade tilt. So you want this wheel, you want this lifting wheel on this side here. So let's go ahead and put that on. Okay, so to secure these legs on, we're going to use these M6 times 72 millimeter carriage bolts, and they come with, oh, I dropped it. They come with, of course, a little locking, a lock nut on them. This comes in the bag labeled A, just to make sure you're getting the right ones. And we'll just go ahead and push these through. Okay, so the next step is to put on these hard wheels, and they're going to go on the back side of the saw here. And we're just going to attach these with one carriage shoulder bolt, and you'll see that's the bolt that's only threaded at the end about 1/2 inch. The rest of it is solid. You'll get 2 of those in your pack. They come in a little baggie all by themselves. They're not in the green bags with all the rest of the parts. And they'll come with 2 lock washers as well. So let's put those on. Okay, now these wheels shouldn't be snug in there. Just get the lock washers on there enough to capture the wheel inside that forked frame there, and allow them to spin freely. Next, we're going to take the 2 rubber feet, and we're just going to install those right on the front here of the saw. And now we're ready to tilt the saw up. Okay, so the saw comes with 4 rail pieces for it, and the instructions aren't terribly clear about where they go. So let me help you make this easier. The first one we're going to put on is going to be this front left side rail, right? So as I'm looking at the saw, I can see the teeth. This would be the way I would cut. So this is our front, right? It's also the one that has the adjustment for the height here. The rail that you're going to want for the left is this one. It's 20 inches long. So just to verify, if you get your tape out, measure the 4 that you have here. The one that we want is 20 inches long, and it's going to go on the left-hand side of our table saw. Okay, so we've got our 20-inch rail here that's going to go on the left-hand side. You'll want one of these flathead bolts here. This will come in your pack. There's 12 of them. It comes with a hex nut and a spring washer. The spring washer and the hex nut go on the back side. The flathead screws goes in the front side. Now, you're going to put these on, but you're not going to totally tighten them down just yet, because this saw takes a bit of finesse to get everything leveled out. I know this from experience. So we're not going to tighten them down all the way. We're just going to get them on here to hold it on. Okay, now we're going to do the rail for the right side. The rail for the right side is just under 37 inches long, so that'll help you identify it. It's also the beefier of the 2 long ones that you've got left. And same thing, we're just going to put some bolts in here to hold it on. We're not going to tighten it down all the way just yet, because we're going to be doing a lot of aligning here in just a bit. Okay, those are in there, but they're not so tight that they can't be moved, because we're going to need to move them here in a bit when we go to get these the tabletops aligned perfectly. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to link these 2 rails together with what they call this rail union plate, and you want the flat side of this plate to go up against the underside of your rail here. In your bag, you'll find 2 of the M5 by 16 shoulder bolts. And you know it's a shoulder bolt because it's got a portion of it is threaded, a portion of it is not, and 2 lock washers as well. And this one we can go ahead and tighten down. Okay, so I know from experience that getting these rails can be a little tricky, and getting the saw level with the extension wings and everything can be a bit of a nightmare for a lot of people. So take your time with this step. They do provide a tool that we're going to use to set the proper height of the rail in relation to the table saw tabletop portion here. And you're just going to set this down basically on the table, and then you're going to bring up the rail to fill this gap here. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, again, I said that this could be tricky. What you want to do is you're going to do this in 3 steps, and this seems to work for most people that I help out with this. We're going to raise up this side, and we're just going to tighten this down enough to hold it there, but we're still going to be able to swing this left side. Then we're going to perfect this left side and make sure there's no gap here at all, and we'll tighten this one down almost as tight as we want it, but tight enough that it won't move at all, but we can force up this side a little bit, which will be thrown out of whack when we do this side. It'll make sense here in a second. So let's work on this right side. All right, that's pretty darn close on this side. I'm just going to tighten it down a little bit to hold it there. Now I'm going to perfect this left side and make sure it's absolutely perfect. Okay, now this side is perfect. My left side is absolutely perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten this down pretty much. I may do this one more quarter turn after we're done over here, but I want this to be snug enough it's not going to move, but I still have enough room to bring this side up if I need to. And I don't know if you can see it, but it is now out of whack. We're not touching this. This has enough square on the bottom of it that if we were in the right place, it wouldn't budge. So we're going to loosen this side. And you can see that that's just barely grazing that. And we'll tighten that down all the way and tighten this one down all the way. And now we are good to go on those rails. Okay, now we've got the front rails on and perfectly aligned. We're going to do the back rails now. Now the back rails, you should have one long one, one short one. They're going to match what you have in the front. So the short one's going to go on the side with the short one in the front, and the long one's going to go on the side with the long one in the front. Now this one's going to be a little different because we're going to connect right to the table saw here, because these holes here are threaded. And so for this one, we're going to use these hex head bolts. They've got a lock washer attached to them already. You should have 4 that came with your saw. So let's go ahead and put these in. Again, I don't want to tighten these down all the way. I just want to get them in to hold the rail on. Okay, again, we're just going to tighten those up enough to hold them on, okay? Now on this rear rail, we're going to use our alignment tool again, but this time we're going to slip the rail into this slot, and then we're going to square it up with this portion to the top of the table saw. And again, on these, you really want to do a three-step here. Put this alignment guide as close as you can to the bolt, to this first bolt. We're going to work on this inside bolt, and we're going to get this one all squared up. And we're going to tighten it, but we're not going to tighten it all the way. We just want it to keep it there enough that it's not going to move up and down, but will allow us to pivot on it so we can tighten this one. So now we'll go to this far bolt here, and we're going to loosen it up. And because we tighten this bolt, we're going to need a little bit of pressure here. And again, you just want to go up to where this thing is just touching. And you don't have any light shining through, and that's perfect right there. So I can go ahead and tighten this one all the way. I'll come back to the first one. The first one doesn't look like it budged much, so we'll go ahead and tighten that one down. Now we're going to do the same thing for the longer rear rail. We're going to start with this inside bolt. Again, put this as close to the bolt as you can without interfering with you screwing it in. And then just square it up. And I want to move my camera so that you can hopefully see what this looks like. Hopefully that's in focus, but that's what you want. You want there to be no light shining through this gap here, and you want no light shining through this gap here as well. I don't know if I can get a real great shot of that, but as you can see here, that is pretty perfect. However, it might budge. It might budge when we do this outer bolt. So that's why we're not going to tighten it down all the way. We're going to tighten it down, but not that last bit. Just in case we need to pivot on this side, it'll be just loose enough that with some force, we can bring this into alignment by pivoting it on this bolt. Okay, and we are a bit low on this side. All right, perfect. Now we'll go back to the original and see if it moved. It did not move, lucky for us. So we'll go ahead and tighten that one down the rest of the way. Okay, so now we're going to put on the left and right wings, which are going to go in this space here and this space here on either side of the table saw to give you that extension and work area all the way across it. This is one of the areas that causes people a lot of grief. Getting this thing level, getting these wings level to the table. We're going to do this the same way, and if you just follow that three-step, we do inner bolt, align, outer bolt, align and secure, and then back to the inner bolt, realign if we have to, and secure. And if you do it that way, you'll save yourself probably an hour's worth of work trying to get this thing level just by brute force. To put these on, we're going to use these same, I believe these are the M8 or M6, no, I think they're the M8 inch and 1/8 inch flathead bolts there. with the spring washer and the lock washer. Spring washer, lock washer obviously go on the back. Okay, so let's put these in. Okay, now we're going to put the spring washer and the nut on the back. Again, remember, I'm not going to tighten these down. I'm just going to put them on enough to hold them on, and then to align it, we're going to do that inner bolt, outer bolt, inner bolt method to flatten this thing perfectly. I have this straight edge here, this engineering edge that I use. I use it around the shop a lot for a lot of different things. And I'm going to use this to level the wings to the tabletop. If you don't have that, of course, you probably don't. You can use your square, that'll work just fine. But to save yourself headache, we're going to work from the inner bolt, outer bolt, back to inner bolt. And if you do it that way, you're going to thank me later. Okay, so let's do that. All right, now this side is in and it's flat. You can see that I can run my straight edge right over that. It does not catch. Same thing with the other side. You do that inner bolt, inner bolt method, and you'll get it to, it'll save you a lot of time. This is by far, there's a great group on Facebook for this T2 owners. By far, one of the most frequently asked questions is how to get this thing level, and that's how you do it. Inner bolt, inner bolt, and a little, each time you're sneaking up on getting that light coming out from underneath your edge to disappear. So now let's do this side. We're going to level out this back end the same way we did everything else. Inner bolt, lift it up, level it as much as we can. Outer bolt, level that perfect. Tighten it, come back to the inner bolt, perfect this one, and we should have it perfectly flat back here. And perfect. It is really that easy. If you just do that method, that inner bolt, inner bolt method, I'm telling you, it's gonna save you. Number one question, aside from the motor, this is the number one question that people post to the Facebook group. And that is the easy way to do it. You can see that along this whole thing now, we are perfectly flat, and I don't have any no, I lied. Let's all right, so looks like, I got a tiny glimmer of light here. Gonna raise that up. Perfect. And so this thing should slide without catching, and it does. Aside from the motor, probably number one question on the Facebook group for this saw is how to get this level. It causes a lot of people that frustration. Inner bolt, outer bolt, back to inner bolt, and that's the easy way to do it. Now we'll just do the other side, and we're almost there. All right, so inadvertently, I did skip a step in putting in this support bar here on this side, and I didn't think it was going to be an issue. I thought I could put it on anyway, but turns out I couldn't. I had to take the rail for the fence guide off so that I could access those bolts, so I could screw them down and tighten them up. But thanks to the power of video, I'm going to go ahead and I'll edit the video and throw that part in there in the right spot so that I don't make you go through the same headache that I just went through. Okay, so we're just going to tighten. I'll move this over here. We're just going to tighten this bar. Oh, I just dropped my screw. We're going to tighten that bar, and then we're going to put our rail back on, which I recorded earlier. But we'll figure out a way to deal with that. Okay, let's put this on. Now on this bar, we're going to use these shoulder bolts. Okay, they're the same. Well, they're not the same. There's a set of 4 of them in your baggie. I think it's in the bag marked letter D. There's 4 of these shoulder bolts with locking 9 nuts. I don't know what they're called. Anyway, they're lock nuts. There's 4 of them, no washers. It doesn't have any washers, so you can pick that apart from the rest of the parts because there's 4 of them. I think these are M8. They're pretty big, and again, no washers. We'll go ahead and just throw this sucker on here. Okay, now we're going to put on the guide rails for the fence, and you'll see we have 2 of them. Oh, we have one for the left side, one for the right side, and they slip into each other like so. And they're going to attach. You should have 5 of these button head screws with an Allen wrench attachment here to attach these from the underneath. Or from the underside. You'll notice right here that that on the first one we've got 2 holes. You're going to go in this farther hole to attach this. So let's go ahead and do that. Make sure your ruler is pointed up. It's not going to be of much use to you if it's not. Of course, I said the farthest screw, and then I didn't do it. Okay, now we'll put in the left side. Okay, well, thank God for the power of video, because I screwed up again. I'm about to tell you in this video that when you're attaching this fence guide here, you're going to put 1 screw in this very far hole here to attach it to the rail. That is a lie. You're going to leave these 2 holes open, so whatever I say next, ignore it. Leave these 2 holes open, because that's where the power box is going to go. You're going to put one screw here, and you're going to put another screw right here, right where the union of these two fence guides are. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Do not put any screws down here just yet. All right, so all we have left to do now is basically a little cable management here, and we're going to install the power box on the front of the rail. And this is I mentioned earlier that I messed up. I told you to put a screw here to hold the rail on. That was a lie. It is these screws, these hex head. You should have two of them. Allen bolts. That'll hold the power box on. It'll also hold the fence guide to the rail. So we'll go ahead and put those on. I don't think we'll be able to use the Allen wrench for one, but I think we're going to have to use a crescent wrench for the other to get in there. Okay, so the last thing we have to install, and you can look on your user manual, because I don't think I can get it. My camera's a really big camera setup. I don't think I can get it underneath there to show you. But basically, you're just there's a hole in the back of this rail back here. We're going to wrap around this cable tie around the cord that comes out of the back of the power box, and we're going to mount it to the frame. Just to keep it out of harm's way. Alright, so all that's left to do is we're going to put on my favorite ply blade, which is this 80 tooth ultimate plywood blade from Freud. We'll just put this on here. When you're tightening this down, you don't have to go overboard. This thing's going to tighten in the direction that the blade spins. So as it spins, it's going to kind of tighten itself. We still need to put on the little handles here for the tilt and to raise the blade. Super easy to do. Just basically screw them on here. Then we'll go ahead and drop our fence on. We have another handle for the locking mechanism here in the fence. I'm going to lower the blade, and I'm just going to make sure that my fence moves unobstructed. We'll go ahead and put our throat plate in. Got a little snag here as I'm coming over this, but the table is flat. It is perfectly flat. So this little snag I've got here, maybe there's a way to adjust it underneath, maybe there's not. It doesn't matter. It's still going to hold. That's not going to go anywhere. And that's basically it. We're done. This is generally the part of the video where I would crank this thing up and cut a piece of wood for you. But as I said before, this saw is notorious for having motor issues, and specifically burning out the start run capacitors. On my other Delta, I think we had it. I bought the saw. I bought Frank Heisler's kit, and it came 2 days later. But we got impatient and we used the saw, and sure enough, we popped the run capacitor. So I had to wait until Frank's kit came in, and we went ahead and replaced all the parts. So I'm not going to fire it up. I'm not going to cut any wood with it. I'm just going to wait. I've already ordered Frank's kit. I ordered it earlier today. Should be here in a couple days, and I'll install it. I think Frank has a video to install this kit. I'll look. If he doesn't have one, I'll make one so that you guys can see. And I'll put a link to Frank's page so that you can see the kit and order the kit for yourself. I highly recommend it. It is by far the #1 complaint about this saw is that the motor burns out. And everybody assumes it's the motor that has burned out. And yes, that can happen. Most of the time it's either this start or run capacitor that's burned out. And if you just be patient, order the kit, put the kit in. Ours has been running now for close to 2 years without any issue. Great upgrade kit from Frank. Even with the upgrade kit and the cost of this saw, it's still a super great bargain. So anyways, I hope you enjoy the saw. I hope you get to make a whole lot of cool stuff. Can't wait to see it. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or post your comments or questions in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe and like. This is our kind of debut to YouTube. We're working on a few other videos about some of our best-selling products, and you'll want to see those. So thanks a lot for joining, and we'll see you next time.